Hi, this is Darla with Forum Foundry, and I wanted to do a video on my transition from Android to the iPhone. I know there's always a lot of questions if you use one mobile OS or another, if you can make that switch or transition and still enjoy the phone that you pick up. For me, the answer was yes. I was able to replicate most of the apps and the processes that I used on a daily basis, and I've actually enjoyed being on the iPhone. I've been on it now a little bit over a week, about a week and a half actually. The last attempt at transferring to an iPhone was about a year and a half ago when the iPhone 6 released, and it only lasted maybe 2 days. I think maybe my mind wasn't open enough at that time or something, but anyway, I did make the transition, or I have made the transition. It's like I said, it's been about a week and a half, and I pretty much have my iPhone replicated to do the processes and most of the same apps that I was using on Android. So I wanted to share the video for those of you excuse me, that also ask yourself that question: can I transfer from Android to Apple or vice versa? And I know not everybody wants to make that switch one way or the other, but you know, there are times that you have to look at other options. So the biggest thing I think for Android users moving to an iPhone is the fact that you only have the one button, and that's your home button down here at the bottom. There's no other buttons like you would have with the Note 5 and the LG V10, which has the on-screen buttons. Those were my two Android phones that I was actively using prior to coming to the iPhone. And so, you know, that's probably one of the biggest transitions. But with the iPhone, there are several ways that you can still move back within apps. And then, of course, if you get back to the main page of an app, you would use your home button to get back to your home screen. So, for example, if you're in the App Store and you wanted to look at an app, and you tap on it, and you can go back to featured by tapping up here, or you can just slide from the left side of the screen and you're back at your main app screen or your app home store screen, and then from there you would go home and be back at your home page. That actually works in Chrome. If you open up and then you can slide back and you get back to your home screen. So that works in almost all of the apps that I have tried it on, and that works, you know, pretty well. I like having that slide feature and not have to reach for a button. Same thing is here. If you go and tap a talk and then you read a thread, you can swipe all the way back till you get to that main app screen, and then you would go back home. So anyway, there's one use of the back buttons. You also have, if you're in an app and then you want to go to another app, and let's go to Google, it gives you an option up here at the very top, back to the App Store, so you can also go back that way, and then you're back in that previous app. So there's several ways that you can maneuver back without having to close completely out of the app. The other one, of course, would be to your multitasking. You can also just switch, you know, between the screens that you have available. Another feature that's out, and that's the use of a home screen protector. This one I ordered off of Amazon. It was $10. They make more expensive ones, but I really just wanted to see if they would work. And it just goes over your screen. I'm not going to put it on because I have a different screen protector on my phone. But it goes over, and my only gripe with this one was it was not a full screen protector, but it covers, you know, either side of your home button there. And then you can't really see it there. You can kind of see one of them. They have these receptacles, or these pressure points, and if you press on that, it correlates. And yeah, I won't be able to use it. It correlates to what is registering up here in these corners. And so if you had the screen protector on and you pressed here, it should in correlation, open your categories. And then if you wanted to cancel versus tapping all the way up here, you would tap down here on the either side of the home button, and then that would cancel the request. So anyway, while I did have it on the phone, it did work. My only gripe with it was that it did not cover edge to edge like the screen protector that I have on now, which that screen protector is by IntelliGlass. And it covers edge to edge. You can get it in black or white, and you know, it helps to protect the screen just like it would for any other device that you use a screen protector on, tempered glass. So that's pretty much the back button, the main things. If you're used to Android, and you have, like I said, you either have your home screen or your on-screen buttons here, or if you were a Pi Pro user, you might have buttons that you could access anywhere up on the screen. Pi Pro was one of my favorite apps, and so I found a way to duplicate that on the iPhone, and that's with the accessibility feature called Assistive Touch. And then you can set up what you would like to see in your Assistive Touch pop-up, and it makes getting to certain functions a little bit easier, but you set that up through your main settings, through General, Accessibility, and then down here to Assistive Touch. You just make sure this is turned on. It puts, and this is movable anywhere that you want to put it on the screen, and it goes dim after no use. But then you're able to customize. You can have up to 8 icons. You can have as few, I think, as 2 icons. And so you can set that up however you want. If you click on Device, it gives you a second pop-up menu, and then More gives you a few more. And then this button here takes you back among the pop-up menus. So anyway, let me go back into my... Back here, this is another example. If you was here, you could just slide from the left edge and get back to the main screen of your settings app, and then you would have to go home. There's also, if you pick up the 6S or the 6S Plus, you have 3D Touch. I compare this to Link Bubble. If you were, or if you selected a link on your Android device, it would pop it up in a little bubble. You could read it later. This is kind of that same feature. If you go into, we'll say, Twitter, and you wanted to look at a link, you just press and hold that link, and then it gives you, okay, this is the information. If you want to actually see that, you go a little bit deeper. There it is. Click done, you're back in then to your Twitter client. But you know, I thought 3D Touch, that's pretty cool. It's actually, in a lot of apps, you can just select them from here. Like if you wanted to see, you know, you wanted to go to all inboxes, you wanted to write a new message. They add quick shortcuts, you know, so that 3D Touch, that's pretty cool. You can also access your Recents menu with the 3D Touch by doing right here, just anywhere on the left edge, just press and hold, and it pops you right in to whatever app you want to be. Now, if you wanted to just go to the next app, you can just slide that over. That worked well for me. You can just slide that over. Okay, maybe I won't be able to show you that, but you just slide that over, and it should pop up the next app. Apparently, I need to work on being able to perform that function. Google Apps, if you're an Android user especially, you rely heavily on some Google Apps. There are several of those that work very nicely in the App Store. Google Now, your Chrome, Google Maps, Play Movies, Play Books, Play Music, and anything that you have purchased on the Google Store for these items will actually sync to your iPhone. You can't make new purchases from the Google Store with your iPhone, but you can make it from your computer or from a tablet or another Android device, and it would sync with your iPhone. There's also Chromecast, of course, if you wanted to cast anything, and then any Microsoft apps that you're using also are there. If you guys notice, I also have the Android Wear app. It does work with my Moto 360. I am able to receive text message notifications, but I'm only able to receive email notifications from one account. I do have 4 email accounts, so you do lose some functionality, but for the most part, it still functions. If you have the app and or the watch and you wanted to use it, you can see Google right there. It's recording what I say, so it would do a search and give you options. So that aspect works. Gives you your notifications up top here that you have 3 notifications waiting, and so then you can swipe through those. And now it says I still have 1. So, but anyway, again, Android Wear does work with the iPhone, so that's a nice transitional feature if you wanted to keep using your Android watch. App similarity, plenty of apps in Google Play and plenty of apps in the App Store that I think you would be able to find almost the exact same, if not something similar. One of my weather apps that I used on Android was OneWeather, and that is also available here on Apple. So that's a nice feature. ESPN, TuneIn Radio, SoundHound, Blixter, those are all available, in the Apple App Store. So I think there might have been, at the most, maybe one app that I wasn't able to replicate coming from Android to Apple, so that not a big deal breaker for me. But if you take the time, you're patient, and you are able to look through apps, I think you could find what you need. Widgets are another very big feature of Android. For me, I use a sidebar launcher, and I loaded it pretty heavy with widgets so I could keep my home screen clean. And that is one of the things that I was worried about with Apple. Going, man, what am I going to do about widgets? But they do allow you to put widgets in your notification panel. And so you can have note widgets, you can have contact widgets. This is an app launcher, and so if you wanted to access an app from within an app, you can just load all your favorite apps up here. The one thing that is limiting is that they have to have custom URL schemes. Most of them, I think, do have them built in. You just have to figure out what they are if the dev of the App Launcher app has not already added it to his app. So, for example, if I go in here and go to Go Launcher, here's the apps that I have already added. Down here I can add a new app, and it asks me, do I want to add a contact, an app, a setting, a web page, or something custom. So if I go to app, these are the apps that have the custom URL schemes currently, and so I can select any one of those. Shows me my installed apps, system apps, so I can select any of those, and it will show up then in my notification panel in my app list. However, if it's an app that I have installed that is not in that list, I can select my own icon, I can name it, then I have to type in what the URL is, and then I click save, and then it gives me, if that URL works, it gives me the option to access that app. So that takes a little bit of time. It's kind of something neat to play around with, but just know that that feature is there. And then you also saw a calculator, so if you want a quick access to your calculator, and then a dialer. One of the things is too, with the control center that comes up from here, you also have a calculator, you have your flashlight, and then you have your quick settings up here for airplane mode, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and then music controls as well. As far as notifications go, you see that you do get badge icons and you just open your folder, and then it'll show you which particular one has that. You also have in your notification panel, it'll give you what your email, sunrise, and then if you wanted to delete something or remove it, and then you just press clear. I do have it so that the LED will flash on initial notification, but outside of that and the app badge, there's no other way that you're really going to know that you have a notification. So that's that. Wireless charging is something that I've always enjoyed on Android phones. The Note 5 had it built in, so if I stick it on the wireless charger, this turns blue, screen lights up, says, hey, you're charging. It also gives you the notification up here. With the LG V10, I bought a special back so that I was able to use it with a wireless charger. And so same thing, gives me the blue icon here, tells me that it's charging wirelessly, and then also if I pull down, it would tell me that I was charging wirelessly. So with the Apple iPhone, we know that wireless charging is not built in, but they do make cases. In this particular case, it's just a very simple case, but it has the lightning port adapter. So you slide that in, and then you can stick it on any wireless charger, and you hear it ding, and then this goes blue, so this is telling you that it's charging wirelessly. Also, your battery icon up at the top turns green. Not sure if you're able to see that very clearly. But, and if you wanted to use a wired charger with this, you can. You just pop this lightning port adapter out. You don't have to take the whole case off. SpeedGen also has a case that's wireless charging. It has the wireless charging card here that you can see. It has the lightning port adapter right there. And then they also make just these cards. And so if you have a favorite case that you want wireless charging, you could order a card. They sell them on Amazon. And you just affix that inside your case, plug this into the port, and then you would be able to use it on a wireless charger. So, some very good functions or options out there for wireless charging. Customization is probably, I think, next to the back button might be the next big thing that Android users ask. Can I move with minimal customization? You are able to change your lock screen and home screen wallpapers. There are options for icons in the App Store, but then outside of that, you're pretty much limited. I have my phone set up, as you can see, pretty similar. I use widgets on my home screen there for clock and date, and then a motivational saying. So for the iPhone, I didn't really worry about time because it's always there, but I did use PixArt to edit my wallpaper. And then you can also use live wallpapers or live photos for lock screens and for your home screen. So I put a live photo for my lock screen wallpaper, and it's not live unless you touch it, but then when you touch it, it comes to life and it shows you whatever you took that live photo of. So that's kind of cool. I mean, that's a neat little feature to show off. Like I said, you can put that on your home screen, you can put that on your lock screen. So either way, to me that was neat. Spotlight search, and this, I think, we're used to our recents buttons on Android. You go into recents and you see all of your apps that you had open, and then you can move between them. With Apple, that's the same as multitasking, and so here you could scroll between open apps and then pick whichever one you wanted to go to. Like I said, you can also access that from this left side. I'll give up on that one. And then you can also just swipe from your home screen, swipe from the left to the right, and it's going to give you Siri suggestions such as maybe most used contacts, last used apps, anything nearby. then some top news stories, but you can also use this to search. And so if I wanted to look for my Verizon app, it'll give me Verizon contacts, and then it gives me these Verizon apps if I have them installed or if they're in the App Store, and then suggested websites, and then it keeps going down. Any emails that I've received from them, text messages, so that's kind of cool that you get that, and then when you're done, you just swipe back and you're out of your Spotlight search. But that one's kind of cool, and that was especially nice for me because I was coming from Lucid Launcher Pro. So if I swipe on Lucid Launcher, I get into my app drawer, but it's the same function that I can type here, and if I type in Verizon, it gives me contacts and apps, and so that was kind of nice. That was a nice transitional feature for me. Another thing for me, I'm sure you just saw there, my keyboard. I use SwiftKey, and I love that I was able to resize it, with that when you're able to move it all around your home screen. So that's a nice feature, and especially the swipe typing. But you are able now with Apple, and they've actually had this now for several OS updates, but if you wanted to have a different type of keyboard, you are able to install third-party keyboards. This particular one is Go, and it's got swipe typing. So I can put all this in here. And then if I want to access my cursor, let's go back here, access my cursor, on the Go keyboard, I can just move along the top here. When you got your setting icons up there, you just move along the top and you're able to access, move your cursor wherever you want. With the stock keyboard, they also kind of have that same feature, only you press and hold on the keyboard and you're able to move the cursor anywhere around there that you want. And then the other keyboard that I do have installed is SwiftKey, and it too has swipe typing, which is nice. And then back to the Go keyboard. That's the only keyboard I found that I was able to adjust the height on. And so you can adjust the height, that's as short as it'll go, but you can make it taller, and then you just save your changes. So no, you can't move it around, but you are able to adjust height and, that type of stuff. They do have the one-handed option if you wanted to use it one-handed. So there it's kind of smaller together. So anyway, options with the keyboards. And to set a keyboard is again in Settings. You go to Settings, you go to General, and then you scroll down here to Keyboard. And then it tells you how many keyboards you have. If you want to add a new keyboard, like if you have any installed, they'll show right here. You click to add them, you grant full access, and then they'll show up in your list, and then you just use that world icon to switch between them. If you want to remove a keyboard at any time, it's the Edit button. And then you just click on the red minus. It'll remove it, click Done, and you're back to where you need to be. So, I think that is pretty much the high points that I wanted to cover, when it comes to the transition between moving from one OS to the other. And again, I know it's not for everybody, but so far it has worked well for me. And I thank you for watching the video. Post up any comments that you might have, or questions, or maybe things that have helped you in your transition if you've moved. Check us out on iPhoneforums.net. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.